Hey guys, welcome to another video of my channel, and in this video I'm going to start a Glock 17 Gen 4 project made out of paper, 100% functional, so I'm going to put in this gun all the real gun's functionalities, including fire system, magazine release, feeding, ejecting, and even shooting if I'm able to make the internal structures sturdy in order to hold the pressure of the explosion of a 9mm cartridge, okay? So let's get started here. In this project I'm not going to make a tutorial, I'm just going to record some step-by-step of me building the gun, but I won't be making like a tutorial series video for this own project right here, because I think it is very difficult, and I already have in my channel the 1911 made out of paper, the paper 1911 classic one, in my channel for those who want to attempt to build some guns like this out of paper, okay? So let's get started. I'm going to start this project by the magazine. Why I'm going to make firstly the magazine? Because if I have the magazine first, it is easier to me to wrap paper around it and make the mag well shaped, so I have guarantee that my magazine release will work properly, and also the mag will be as sturdy as I want in order to lift the cartridges up and I have a proper fitting, okay? So what I'm going to do here I have a one-to-one scale drawing project blueprints or templates of Glock 17 Gen 4. Have already put these blueprints in the description of this video. If you want to check it out, feel free. Okay, so here I have a 9mm cartridge, okay, and to make the magazine I will make firstly a cardboard mold for the magazine. So I know that the cartridges will be lifted up like this, in this direction. They will be like a little bit angled in relation to this surface here, but the cartridges will actually be lifted up like with a small angle here between the angle, the surface of the rim of the cartridge like this, and that surface right here. So we will have that angle and we will have to compensate while making the mold. So the cartridges will be lifted up like this, and the mold will be a rectangular shape of cardboard. So if you turn the camera like this, the mold will, if you trace a line from here to here, making 19 degrees with this surface and 90 degrees with this surface too. This, if you trace like another line like representing the center line of the body of the cartridge, here you have that same angle, and this will be the width for our magazine. Okay, so measuring in the paper I get about 3.1 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to make a rectangular shape of cardboard measuring 3.1 width, and I'm gonna stack cardboard until I have the correct thickness of the magazine. So when I have it, I'm gonna be back right here with you guys. So here I have 3 cartridges of 9mm. As you can see, I placed them as a double stack magazine, as it is supposed to be a Glock magazine. Alright, the cartridges stay pretty much close to each other like this, as you can see in reference images if you search on Google and stuff like that. As you can see here, that gives me about 1.9 centimeter width for the magazine, and that's the thickness my mold should have. So here I have a pretty much 1.9 centimeters thickness piece of cardboard, which I'm gonna use for my mold for the magazine. Okay, it is pretty much sturdy. As you can see, I just stacked cardboard like this. It doesn't need to be very precise, I mean like in height if you measure, because it actually needs to be a little bit longer than the actual magazine. As you can see, the magazine starts here and ends about here, and my mold starts pretty much in the same place of the magazine but ends a little bit further, and it's gonna allow us to commit mistakes while we're wrapping paper around the mold in order to make the magazine. if we do not wrap paper properly, we can correct the mistakes. Okay, so that's why the mold should be a little bit longer than the actual magazine. And next step here, as you can see, if I have from here to here for the magazine to occupy space inside the mag well. And if I place the magazine around here, you can see that I have about 2 millimeters in each side to make the magazine. So that gives me about a 14 or 16 layer magazine that should be very sturdy and it should work properly. So now the next step, I'm gonna just wrap paper around this magazine, remembering that when you wrap paper around the mold, it should be a little bit longer than the actual magazine, right? So just wrap paper around it. If you are attempting to make one of these, you're going to wrap paper around it until you match the correct thickness for the magazine that you would know, like in according to your project here. And the magazine should be about, I guess, 2 millimeter. The walls of the magazine should be about 2 millimeter thick. I think that is already okay for your magazine to work properly, and so then it can like not bend, and also to make the lips for the magazine very strong in order to hold the bullets inside the magazine, right? So that's lots of reasons why should the magazine be very strong. Okay, so I'm now, as I have already said many times, I'm going to start wrapping paper around the magazine. And just one more very important thing that I forgot to mention here is that the magazine has a slightly curve here in the front part. As you can see, it's not a steep angle from this surface to the lateral surface. It has like a round shape right here. So we have to make this round shape also, okay? So to make this round shape, basically took my X-Acto knife, like passed it like this, removing the corners, and then sand it down with a sandpaper here to make it even. And as you can see, I managed to have here the round shape. As you can see, it is slightly rounded. Here from the top is better to see, and may not seem that is slightly rounded, but when we wrap paper around it, you're going to see the final result that it actually will outcome with this side curve right here. Here in the back portion, it is almost a steep angle, as you can see here from a reference image I found, the 90-degree angle, but in the front portion of the magazine, we have a round shape. So here I have the basic shape for the magazine, how it will look like. As you can see, I have wrapped around we have about 1 millimeter thickness of paper, lots of layers of paper and lots of layers of super glue also. And as you can see here, the magazine is pretty much defined already. I use pliers here in the walls to make it thin and to arrange it in the correct position. So as you can see, it has almost a 90-degree here from the transition from the side plate or the back plate here of the magazine, and the front portion of the magazine, it is rounded. See, the cartridges already go in double stack configuration, okay, just as we expect. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically just wrap around more paper until I get about 1.5 or 2 millimeter thickness for the magazine. I think that it will be enough to make the lips as sturdy as I want, and also make the side of the magazine very sturdy for it not to bend. So I started working here in the top portion of the magazine. As you can see, I have already made those two cutouts, one on each side, to make the lips for the magazine. This I'm not going to work in here in the bottom part of the magazine yet, because I still need to have the frame and see how much of the magazine actually is going to stick out of the frame for me to trim down this bottom part here. But now I'm gonna just be working on the lips of the magazine in the top portion of it. Okay, so here we have two bend lines, this first bend line here and the second bend line. The second bend line is going to become the lips for the magazine, and this bottom bend line here is going to narrow the passage of the cartridges in order to make the magazine just single stack here in the top portion. So it is actually double stack here, but when it comes to this top portion of the magazine, it becomes single stack. So that's why we have this second bend line here besides the one for the lips, the actual lips of the magazine, those that prevent the cartridges from popping out of the magazine under spring tension. Gave them a finishing in baking soda and super glue, They are very smooth and very sturdy, as I have already said. And I have here a 9mm cartridge in the magazine just for you to see how it's gonna look like when I have cartridges inside the magazine. So the top exit here is single stack, as I have already mentioned, and this middle part here, it becomes double stack magazine, okay? So it narrows about here in the second bend line. I have also added some paper layers to this part inside in order to narrow the bullets to make it become single stack here in the top. And yeah, so here's a little cutout for the slide to strip a cartridge out of the magazine. And here we have also a second cutout for the follower, the magazine follower, to hit the slide release when you run out of bullets. And I'm going to remove this bullet from here to show you the narrow thing that I made here. So as you can see, we have a step here between this middle surface and this top surface here. I have like a triangular shape in both sides, and in order to make this step smooth, I think I'm gonna come here inside with some epoxy and fill these gaps. So it's not going to be so difficult, it's actually going to be pretty easy. And we're making this to make bullets like narrow in order to make them single stack. I'm gonna show you here a reference picture about what I'm talking to you right now. So that's what I'm trying to say. We have the magazine walls here. So when it comes to this height, it narrows inside like this. So right, so I'm going to fill the gaps with some epoxy between here and here in order to make this transition smooth, so then the cartridge won't get stuck in this step, right? So that's why I'm doing this. And here, as you can see, I have already put some epoxy in here. I still have to give it a finishing. I'll probably use my Dremel here because to file it down with a file or sandpaper, it's gonna be pretty hard to reach this inner surface right here. So I started to make the follower. So here, as you can see, I have a slot right here in the bottom for the spring to go inside it. And here I have a small platform following the shape of the cartridge, so it's a little bit rounded. I still need to sand it down, but it's gonna look pretty much like this. Okay, still need to make a little tip right here for the follower to hit the slide release when you run out of bullets. So that's what I have for the follower so far. And I've also made the spring. As you can see here, the spring for the magazine is a pretty strong spring. This wire here I took from a notebook, so I basically, how I made the spring, I just bent the wire with pliers, so it was actually pretty easy to make the spring. And as you can see, it's a pretty unique feature that the spring here is, the diameter of the coils are a little bit bigger here in the bottom part rather than in the top part, that it is a little bit thinner. Because here, as I have already told you, have a part inside the magazine that narrows the bullet, so we actually have to have a smaller diameter for the coils here in the top portion, as in the real gun. I have pretty much finished the follower. I still have to give it a little bit of finishing here in the sides. I guess I will be doing this with super glue and baking soda, but I won't be doing this right now, because I guess that's already enough for me to make the frame and everything related to this with the mold for the magazine. Okay, so I also have made here the tip for the follower to hit the magazine release, and we have here some shape formats and stuff like that, pretty much like the real follower. And here I have the magazine already finished here in the top portion. And we have here a little cutout for the follower. I'll like put the follower inside the magazine for you to see how it will look like. So we pretty much fit the spring here inside the follower like this. It's a little bit messed up to do it just with one hand, but yeah, that's it. So the follower is already inside the main spring, and you just like snap it in like this, and it should come here in the top pretty much as it is supposed to be when we have the spring hold inside the magazine by the floor plate. I won't be doing the floor plate yet because, as I have already said, I firstly have to have the frame and see how much of this part I will have to trim down. But yeah, that's how the follower looks like when we see it here in the top portion. The little tip here for the slide release, and yeah, it is pretty much like this. I'm going to show you now a reference image side by side with my magazine for you to see that it is actually pretty similar. So yeah, that's how it's going to look like. It is a little bit messed up here, this wrong part of the follower, because I use my Dremel, and so I still have to apply more epoxy here, but I won't be doing this now. And yeah, that's how it's gonna look like. As you can see, very good, it came out very good. And also I still have here another reference image to show you. Also, this little detail here looks like a little bit of material here, and my guessing is that it is supposed to hold the magazine inside the frame, so then it can't go further inside the frame than it is supposed to go. So that's why I guess this little detail stands for. But I won't be making it now. I'm just like leave the magazine like this because it is already enough for me to make the mag wall and stuff like that. And I still need to make. So this little detail right here and some finishings on the follower, and the most important part, the floor plate here for the magazine, which I'll need to wait for the frame to get finished. So yeah, that's basically this first update on my blog. Hope you like this video. I've done lots of stuff here, so follower magazine, pretty complicated parts, and they need to be very precise and very accurate in order to make your gun function well. Yeah, that's what I've done for now. Hope you liked the video. If you enjoyed the video, please thumbs up and comment here. I'll be very pleased to answer to all your comments. That's basically it. Okay, so stay tuned for more updates and see you later.
I see you take it off, T-Swift, that shit, yeah, shake it off. Are we gonna take a trip? Taking off, oh yeah, lay you down. I just wanna be your body now. Your life's too short, I'm from out of town, so we better get to work, yeah, working out. I get blacked out too easy, ever since I was 16. Wait, ever since I was 15. Oh shit, maybe sometime in between. I just wanna create some memories before I die this century. Fuck 9 to 5 to the enemy. Yo, do you believe in destiny?